Across the country today, special services were held to honor 4 chaplains for their act of selfless sacrifice amidst a very chaotic situation. Parker Brown caught up with the American Legion Post 15 in Sioux Falls, and he brings us our top story tonight.
4 young men who are chaplains in the military gave their lives for 4 other men, and they've left an impact on the hearts and minds of thousands. Today, we honor them across the nation.
Few people can understand what it takes to knowingly give up your life for the value and preservation of another life. And that's what these 4 chaplains did, and that's the basis of the whole story.
On the night of February 3rd, 1943, the USAT Dorchester was attacked by a German U-boat while they were on their way to Greenland. When a torpedo struck the ship, panic spread as it became clear that many would die. Amidst the chaos, 4 chaplains, all of different faiths, calmly gave up their life jackets and helped others to lifeboats. They linked arms and prayed as they went down with the ship.
Without a moment's thought, gave up their opportunity to live so that 4 others, unknown to them, got that chance.
Today we honor and remember Methodist Reverend George Fox, Jewish Rabbi Alexander Good, Dutch Reformed Reverend Clark Poling, and Roman Catholic Father John Washington.
They're individuals. They're not unique or special other than they were special for that moment and for those 4 lives that they saved.
American Legion posts around the country have banded together to continue telling the story of these 4 men, to keep inspiring others and honoring their sacrifice.
Amen.
My great hope is that the story continues on forever. Our history doesn't die because it's been 20 years and we go, okay, that part's over. The fact that that history of courage and faith and self-sacrifice is a story that should never die and never weaken, but should be told and retold as often as can be.
In Sioux Falls, Parker Brown, Dakota News Now.